All right, Govind, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Of course, we're talking all things AI, creative spaces. Generative AI, we've seen, has really taken over a lot of creative spaces. We see viral memes, ad campaigns. So talk us through how Adobe Express is tapping into this theme of supporting everyday creators in their journey to access AI for creative spaces.
Yeah, absolutely, Nora. We've actually been on this journey with Adobe Express for a few years. We had a product called Adobe Spark in market a few years back, and around 3 years back, we realized that we needed to really take a step back and rebuild the product from the ground up to essentially address what we saw as an evolving trend in the market, where there was an increasing appetite, so to speak, for everyone to have a quick and easy tool that they could use to create content without necessarily having to spend the time and energy to download and install applications or to really learn applications that would take them time to learn. So we found that there were a number of users who had an intent and were keen to get to serving that intent as soon as possible, and do that in a way that was quick and easy and and accessible. So we decided that we needed to really take a step back, rebuild the product from the ground up by taking the key and the best elements of what Adobe had to offer and package that in a way that was just easily accessible by everyone. So we've been on that journey for around 3 years, and we made some remarkable progress. We launched on the desktop first, then we launched on mobile. But what's shifted over the past year and a half or so was obviously the advent of AI and generative AI. And since we were building this product from the ground up, we had the benefit of building it in a way that we could incorporate AI and generative AI seamlessly into the product and make it part of how we built the product. And what it does then is it gives us the flexibility, more importantly, it gives the users the flexibility to either lean heavily into AI and sort of rely on AI as much as they want to or need to, but also gives them the ability to then go into the tools and the capabilities of the product to do some of the fine-grained control, to apply some of the fine-grained control that they may choose to apply. So in more ways than one, I would say that AI and generative AI and the trends that we have been seeing in that space and the advancements we've seen in that space have given us the opportunity to further amplify what our users and customers are able to do with a tool like Adobe Express. And the fact that we built it from the ground up while this sort of shift was happening has given us the ability to not only bring the best of what Adobe can offer, but also do that by seamlessly incorporating and integrating AI and generative AI through the workflows.
Yeah, walk us through the mechanics of that a little bit more in building it from the ground up. I understand you have an in-house AI platform called Firefly. So how does Firefly help users unlock creativity while also keeping content safe and production ready and all those other considerations?
Yeah, so Firefly is an umbrella term that we use for all of our generative AI capabilities. And with the best interest, so to speak, of our creators in mind, or of our creative customers in mind, we built Firefly with a focus and an emphasis on making sure that it was safe for commercial use. And what it means when we say that is that we have trained our Firefly models on data that we have permission to use, that we have licensed and that we have permission to use. And that has been something that we have held true to as a promise from day one. So while we have made dramatic advancements in Firefly, not just in the context of image generation, I mean, quite often we tend to talk about Firefly or tend to talk about generative AI in the context of image generation. We have taken a rather broad and holistic view to generative AI. When we talk about generative AI and Firefly, we talk about it in the context of image generation, video editing, design, and vectors. So and actually audio as well. So it's the entirety of all the creative media formats that we think can be appropriately, generated using the generative AI capabilities that we consider under the Firefly model or the Firefly umbrella. And what we've then done, obviously, is as these capabilities mature and come to market, we have integrated them into Express as I said earlier, in a very seamless and contextual way, so that it doesn't feel like it's bolted on as an afterthought. It's
Right.
part of your workflow. As you're doing things, you have the ability to pull in elements of Firefly to complete your work.
Okay, so it's very clearly not just image generation. There's a lot of different tools that you're offering through your AI capabilities. So how does this all fit within Adobe's overall AI strategy? If you can just zoom out a little bit.
From our perspective, we are obviously embracing AI. We think it's a huge unlock for us. Generative AI is one part of it, as you just rightly pointed out. Generative AI in the context of being able to generate these formats is one part of it. But the bigger opportunity is to find ways to, there are two big opportunities here. One is in the context of just AI, right? How do you use AI to make it incredibly easy for everyone to get their work done, to be more productive, to not necessarily have to spend time on things that don't add to their creative prowess or to their creative output. Like just making it incredibly easy to get to their outcomes as soon as possible. And that's a key unlock that comes with AI in general. Generative AI then sort of goes to takes you to the next level, where in many, many ways it significantly lowers the barrier to entry for users to come in and start their creative journey, right? Previously, if you had to create something, you had to start with an image, or you had to create the elements of that image, which required you to learn some of the tools that were fairly hard to use and sort of set the bar quite high for who could come in and be creative and who could come in and express what was in their mind's eye, so to speak, right? And with generative AI now, for every one of these media formats that I touched on earlier, you now have the ability to essentially, if you can, put in words what's in your mind's eye, so to speak. You now have the ability to see that come to life right in front of you, of your eyes, and then you can obviously tweak it and do whatever you want to do from there. But the barrier to entry to doing creative work has dropped dramatically. So on the one hand, we've made creators and creative professionals and who was already doing creative work, we made them far more efficient and far more productive. And on the other hand, we have dramatically lowered the barrier to entry for anyone to come in and be creative and to sort of bring what's in their mind's eye to life with a text prompt for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, that's very helpful in talking about the creative overview. Is Agentic AI something that you all are looking at as well?
Yes, we have been at it for a few weeks and months. We actually just released a blog earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, with a pretty comprehensive overview of our work in that space. We believe that there's an opportunity to now sort of take all of this to the next level with Agentic AI, where in a product like Adobe Express, we will have the ability for users to essentially come in and describe what they want to do and see the end result, not just in the context of an image, but a full-fledged design of their intent that represents their intent. But then you can take it further by, once again, just using a text-based or a conversational interface to make edits to the design. And edits could be as simple as moving objects around, objects meaning it could be a text box or an icon, but it could also be as exciting as doing pixel level editing, where you can essentially ask for a sky to go from sunrise to sunset, or change the color of an object without even having to select the object or perform any particular action on the object, and have those edits done in a contextually aware manner where the semantics of the content is understood by Express, so much so that the operations that are applied are in the context of the semantics of the content, right? If you're creating a birthday card and you ask for some modifications to be made, the fact that the agentic tool, the agentic AI, knows that you're working on a birthday card means that your output that is generated is appropriate for a birthday card, as opposed to someone working on a business card, and the output that would be generated for a business card would be more appropriate for a business card use case. So that's the opportunity that we have, where once again we are even further lowering the barrier for users to come in, express their intent however they choose to, and get to a meaningful and compelling output.
Yeah, the context is important when you're using those tools for sure. So we've seen a lot of virality and popularity in OpenAI's generative AI images, especially recently with the Studio Ghibli filters. And in fact, Sam Altman had to close off 4.0, ChatGPT 4.0 to free users because the demand was melting OpenAI's GPUs. People were really going crazy with it. So how much since there is so much demand on that end, how does Adobe Express really plan to stand out, especially because maybe the name recognition isn't quite there as much as a ChatGPT at this point?
Yeah, our approach to most of these new solutions coming in, Nora, is that we believe that it actually expands the opportunity for a product like Adobe Express. We recently announced, I think this was around a week or two back, we announced that Adobe Express will be one of the first applications that will start incorporating some third-party models, or models that are not created by Adobe, into the product. And we are starting with a couple of third-party models from Google, and a couple of other models, and the thinking is that over time we will give users the option, so to speak, to pick the model that works best for their use case and their intent. So rather than being solely constrained, we believe obviously that the models that we provide will work extremely well, and over time will end up producing better results. But we don't believe that we need to constrain our users by to just use the models that we have built within our own four walls. So we are adopting an open ecosystem approach here, and the thinking is that over time we will make more and more of these third-party models available within the tool, and make them available in ways that make the most sense for our users. So leverage what's most compelling about these models in our tools like Express, like Project Concept, which is another tool that we expect to integrate these third-party models into, and leverage the best of these models. And once again, give the optionality to the user to use them if they so choose to, as opposed to forcing them to use our own models.
And relatedly, you have, for example, Grok and Llama that are associated with their social media parent companies, X and Meta. There is this inherent convenience for users to use the in-house tools when they're posting on their socials or creating content for their socials. So how do you sort of think about the convenience factor that is offered with these other tools versus getting consumers to use Adobe products?
It comes down to the deep expertise and legacy that we bring to the table, right? Creativity would not be where it is today had it not been for Adobe's deep legacy in the creative applications. And I think what helps us stand out is a couple of things. One is, as I said, just the fact that we bring so much experience, expertise, and depth of knowledge into the space that I think over time, not just over time, in general, we believe that what you as a user can create with any of our applications would be better than anything else that you can do in any of the other applications. And the other part of this that I find important to highlight is the connectedness of what we do, right? It's not, and this goes back to where we started the conversation, it's not one output format. It's not using Llama to create a social media post. That's just one part of what you're trying to do as a marketer. As a marketer, you're trying to create a campaign that requires content that touches different social media channels, different digital and in some cases physical channels, that requires different media types. It could be audio, video, images, text, it could be vectors. So you could obviously go to 10 different solutions to do each of those to produce each of those point content types and media types, or you could come to Adobe and get the best of all of that, either in a very dedicated application like Photoshop or Premiere, or use Firefly as this umbrella solution that gives you the ability to generate every one of these media types. Or even better, go to an application like Express, where you can not only generate these kinds of outputs, but also put that into a social media post, put that into a flyer, put that into a poster, publish it, and get the business outcomes, or drive the business outcomes that you're trying to drive. So it's the comprehensiveness, so to speak, of what we offer as Adobe that I think will just stand out, and will get users using our products more than some of the other point solutions.
Yeah, I want to touch on Apple very quickly as well, because Apple's AI efforts, branded as Apple Intelligence, has seen delays. There's even been a pushback on its Siri upgrade. How do you see Apple in this ecosystem? Do you see them as a serious player or even a threat in the creative AI space, a company that is really known for creativity?
I obviously can't speak to Apple's focus and energy in this space, but I can say that we obviously are always looking to partner with Apple. We have partnered effectively with them over the years. We've had our applications be best in class on their platforms, every one of their platforms over the years. And as they make advancements in that space, we will obviously be looking to partner closely with them. We have a really great relationship with them, and I can't imagine that they are going to sit this out. So as they continue to make advancements, I would say that as a company, Adobe is excited to partner with them and help that ecosystem move in the right direction.
You're serious collaborators with Apple. It's great to hear.
Absolutely.
So just to wrap things up, Govind, what is your long-term vision for creative AI, and how do you foresee it bringing people's ideas to life over time?
I think I would say I'm super excited, and I believe that it just opens up incredible new opportunities for us as a company, but more excitingly, for the broader base of our users, right? If you can look at literally any segment, be it students starting in middle school or high school or higher education, the opportunities that they now have with creative AI and the ability to show what they want to show, or to display their what's in their mind, right? I mean, and their mind is so full of ideas, but giving them a platform or the set of capabilities to now bring what they have in their minds to life, like starting there at the school level, from, as I said, middle school, high school, even elementary school for that matter. I mean, we see some amazing use cases of kids in elementary school using Express and the generative AI capabilities which once again is safe for commercial use and safe for students to use in schools. We have seen some really amazing use of Express and generative AI there. So starting from there to solopreneurs, to small and medium businesses, to enterprises, I think given the incredible appetite for content that is only continuing to grow at every step of this evolution or of the set of users and segments that I just spoke about, creative AI and the tools that we have in creative AI with applications like Adobe Express, Firefly, and even our flagship applications like Photoshop, Acrobat, Illustrator, it opens up huge opportunities for Adobe. And for someone who is a long-time veteran who has been at Adobe and has sort of seen a number of these shifts over the years, I think this is one that I am personally very, very excited about and can't wait to see how we sort of help influence how the next generation of creators create content and bring what's in their minds out into the open. So to me, it's a fantastic opportunity for Adobe. It's an opportunity that I wake up every morning and as we discussed earlier, even stay up late in the night, being excited about.
Yes.
And excited about talking about it, excited
Right.
about getting everyone to use the product and be as productive and as creative as possible. So
Great.
huge opportunity.
Definitely. I appreciate your enthusiasm. It's an exciting time to be a creative and to be creative. So Govind, we'll leave things there. Thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.